YouTube, what's going on? Happy Memorial Day. This is a Greenlight Ford showcase. 28 different castings of Ford cars, starting with this Australian model Ford Falcon XB. Also the Ford Mustang 2. These are two relatively new toolings from Greenlight. With the classic Mustangs, there are quite a few different toolings from Greenlight. The Ford Mustang is probably the most casted car in diecast history, especially for 1:64 scale. Got some different toolings here from Greenlight. Here's a 1970. Don't see this one very often from Greenlight. This particular release is a very nicely detailed, it's a County Road Series 5. Might be Series 6, but I think it's Series 5. And I will apologize in advance for any shaky camera. So this casting uses a very common practice in 1:64 scale diecast, where the body of the car is the tooling and then the top of the car is a plastic tooling or molding. Greenlight does it on a few castings. Auto World also does it on a few castings. Pretty sure Racing Champs does as well. This one here, you can definitely see the joint, but this car came out at a time where Greenlight's quality control was at its best. The fit and finish of their cars back in this 2010 time frame were just much better. It might actually even be earlier than that. This is a newer Greenlight tooling that utilizes that same practice with the plastic roof. This is a Ski Country Ford Mustang from a diorama, and just excellent execution on this car. It's a really nice tooling to start with, but when they add all the detail, I mean, just the taillight detail is fantastic. And then the ski rack, really nice touch. Really nice casting. And then here, I think this is what, a 67? Yeah. 67 fastback tooling with the Gulf dress up. This is the 69 Boss tooling. And then here we have a 67 GT, Shelby GT tooling. Really nice detail on this car. That's just, for 1:64 scale, that is incredible to have that level of detail at a $6 price point. So those are some of your classic Mustangs. Here we have the Ford Country Squire. This is a custom wagon. It's not like a factory station wagon, although they are coming out with a new tooling for the muscle wagons. This casting was made for the National Lampoon's Vacation. I probably should have brought that one out instead of the Black Bandit, but I don't think we'll see a lot of this casting outside of the National Lampoon's Vacation releases. Here we have a two-door Ford Galaxie. This one really doesn't show up too often either. Really nice casting though. I dig this one. That's some nice detail. Then we get into the Ford Gran Torinos. Both of these toolings are fairly new. So new, in fact, that this one here, the four-door, has only been released twice. Once in the Hollywood series as the Big Lebowski car, and then once in the two-door, or this one was twice, once as Big Lebowski and then once as a Hot Pursuit. This one has only been released one time for Hollywood series as the Starsky and Hutch car. It is slated to come out very soon in a civilian deco in the next Greenlight Muscle release. For 4x4s, we've just got a Ford Bronco. There are probably 3 or 4 different toolings that Greenlight uses for this first gen Bronco. Some of them with doors, some of them without doors, some of them with hard tops, some of them with soft tops, some of them with Baja tops, the Baja bikini tops. Some of them don't have any tops, some of them have tailgates, some of them don't have tailgates, some of them are lifted, some of them are not lifted. So there's a lot of different configurations that they can do with this first generation Ford Bronco. And it is the nicest first gen Ford Bronco available in the scale. It's a very nice tooling, and they've put out some really nice examples of that. They put out some bad ones too, but I like this one with the soft top. That's from an all-terrain release. The F100 is another one that has a few different configurations. This can be used as a ramp truck, can be used as just a stock pickup, or as you see it here, a Baja style pickup with the lift kit. It is a tooling that does have a lot of issues with bed tilt. Got a little bit of that going on with this one, and I really wish that Greenlight would get a fix on that because it's extremely irritating. My least favorite Ford tooling is this one here. It's an earlier F100, and I don't know that this is an original Greenlight tooling. I think this might have come over from High Speed or Malibu. This tooling was only ever released under the Motor World. The Motor World line, which was an economical line that Greenlight used to do, but it somehow made its way into the premium lineup. Anyway, so those are your more classic Ford cars. Also this 67 Ford Galaxie 500. This is the same tooling and essentially the same car as the 67 Ford Custom. And this one has made appearances in country roads, which is what you see here. It's been used in Hollywood, like for the Bullet Taxi, and also mostly used in Hot Pursuit as vintage police cars. So that pretty much wraps up the classic Ford, Greenlight Ford castings. I'm sure there's a number of them that I don't have. I didn't take the time to go through and count all of the casting or tooling numbers that they have for Ford. But right here you see 28 different toolings in this video. The reason I felt compelled to do a Greenlight Ford video is because of the selection between the classic cars and the late model cars. They have a great catalog of late model Ford toolings. So we will start right here with this Ford Taurus SHO. This is a sick car. This is from Men in Black 3. I think it's Hollywood Series 5. It's Hollywood. I don't know. I think it's 5, but it could be a different one. But this car is as murdered out as a car can be. The only thing they didn't murder out was the windows. This car is more Black Bandit than any Black Bandit car. It does have lens headlights and taillights, but as you can probably tell, they are completely blacked out. And I just think this car has an awesome look to it. I would like to see this car in a more civilian deco, though. This car mostly comes out as a hot pursuit, so a lot of police car releases for that tooling. Here's a really nice civilian deco half-ton Ford F-150 pickup truck. This is the XLT trim package. And that's worth mentioning because they also do an XL trim package with their utility trucks, and basically the big differences between the XLT and the XL as far as the trim package goes is the XL models are going to have the composite front grille with the composite with the composite bumper, so it's going to be a lot more plastic looking. And the XL is going to have basically standard steel wheels, but they look great though. I mean, I've got a couple of them, just XL Ford F-150s, and they're basically utility trucks, so they have a real basic base model trim package, but then they'll have like a utility rack in the back with a ladder, and they look equally as nice. You know, it's just a different level of quality on the truck. The Ford Fusion is a car that I don't believe ever made its way into the premium lineup of Greenlight. I'm pretty sure it was only ever released as a Motor World, which is a shame because it's a really nice casting. And at a $399 price point, to get a metal body with a plastic base with prototypical wheels, rubber tires, transparent lensed headlights and taillights, some of those Motor World cars were some of the best values in diecast. Another thing to note about these late model Ford cars is that almost all of them have lensed headlights and taillights. There are only 3 cars here that don't. And the F-150 is one of them. It does have lensed headlights, but the taillights are painted. This Mustang is another one where the headlights and taillights are painted. And it's also another example of a tooling that has a plastic top, which in this case I think really takes away from the authenticity or the overall look, fit and finish of the casting. It's a nice looking casting, but because of that plastic top, it's not going to stack up too well against the Greenlight, or the Auto World rather. I still like it though. Still a nice casting. Now this Ford Mustang is, I think, quite a bit nicer than the other one. This one here is a single tooling, doesn't have the plastic top. This one utilizes transparent lens headlights and taillights, which most of the time is a good thing, but as you can see here, sometimes it's not such a great thing. If the placement isn't proper, or in this case you can see some flashing that didn't get trimmed, but overall I would prefer the lensed headlights and taillights. This model has an opening hood. Most of these models have opening hoods, not all of them, but you can see not the best closing hood there. Does have prototypical wheels, but when you set this one next to the Auto World, it's crazy how much nicer the wheels are on the Auto World. This one also has an opening hood. I think this one closes up quite a bit better. And then we have the Fox Body Mustangs, which for these cars there are two different toolings. We have the notchback tooling and the fastback tooling. The notchback, I think it's been put out 8 or 9 times. Every single time it's been released by Greenlight, it's been released as a police car. But they did announce that they are going to be doing this in a civilian deco. It is going to be an exclusive release. I don't remember who it's for. If it's, I don't remember if it's for Miho maybe. I don't know. But I'm really looking forward to seeing this with the civilian deco. It's a really cool little tooling. And I don't know that any other brand did the notchback Fox Body in this scale. I don't think Hot Wheels ever did it, or Matchbox did, but they also have only done it as a police car. I don't think Johnny Lightning ever did it though either. Now the fastback Fox Body has been replicated by Johnny Lightning and Hot Wheels. I think Matchbox did it at some point. None of those are great. The Johnny Lightning is okay, but the Greenlight is definitely the benchmark. This is a very nicely executed die-cast model. Metal body, metal base, prototypical wheels, in this case the GT wheels. All of the window trim is detailed, the weather stripping. Windshield wipers, side view mirrors, lens headlights and taillights, as well as lensed fog lights. You can see this one has a little bit of a hood closing issue. This is the only Fox Body that I have that is like that. All 6 of the other fastbacks that I have really nicely closing hoods. There are your lens taillights. These wheels are sick. These are easily in the top 5 of wheels that Greenlight has ever done. Some people would probably argue that they're the best wheels Greenlight has ever done. So, really cool Fox body. The only other Ford casting besides the F-150 and this Mustang to not feature transparent lens headlights and taillights is the Crown Vic, which is one of the more iconic Greenlight castings. When you think Greenlight toolings or iconic Greenlight toolings, those benchmark toolings that they have, I would say the Chevy C10, the Ford Crown Vic, and those are probably the two. This casting is so well done, and the fact that it doesn't have lens headlights or taillights really doesn't matter because the execution is so well done. So here's the back end. You can see it's all painted detail, but look at the attention to detail. I mean, even the keyhole is detailed. These are prototypical wheels for the Crown Vic. They're just really dusty and dirty, but those are actual OEM wheels. This car is from the Hollywood release from Walking Dead, so that's why you have the accessories on top, and that's why you have all the dirt and grime and faded paint on the car. The front end detail looks really good. The headlights are tampoed. They paint the headlights and then they run a tampo over to give it that added detail, and it really makes for a nice look. These Crown Vics do have opening hoods, but it's probably the hardest Greenlight casting to get the hood open. I just don't even worry about it. So another awesome casting. And then one of my new favorites is this Ford Explorer, which almost always comes out in a police deco. So I just purchased this one within the last couple of weeks, and it's the only civilian deco Ford Explorer that I have. They've only done 3 or 4 of them, I think, and they're all pretty pricey. But this one here is from Hitch and Tow. I think it's Series 4. But it is a killer casting. It just looks so good. Very nicely done. It has a very realistic look to it. Very clean fit and finish. And similar to the Explorer is the Escape, which, like the Explorer, this one doesn't show up in a civilian deco very often. This car predominantly came out in the Motor World lineup, that $399 price point. But again, at that price, you get so much for your money because, I mean, yes, it does have a plastic base, but it's got prototypical wheels, rubber tires, lens headlights and taillights, and everything about the car is just so highly detailed. I mean, you think a Hot Wheels car is $1, and this car is $4. It's just pretty amazing that they were able to get this level of detail into a $4 price point. And the same can be said about the Ford Focus too. Lens headlights and taillights, prototypical wheels. This was another casting that was made for the Motor World line. It has made a couple appearances in the premium lineup. Once, I think it only showed up one time as a road racer. And then it also made a Black Bandit appearance. But it's made 4 or 5 appearances in the Motor World release. Really cool little car, though. I really like the Ford Focus here. Now, I don't have the Ford Fiesta tooling, which is one only ever came out in the Motor World. So I'll have to see if I can track one of those down. So I don't have every Ford tooling represented here, but this should cover most of them. Another new one is this Ford GT, which is a ridiculously nice tooling. The air channels are open. I believe this is the only 1:64 scale Ford GT that has that open like that. The Tomica might, though. Didn't Tomica just do this? There's been a few brands that have put this car out, but in the 1:64 scale, the Greenlight is hands down the nicest. This one also has lens headlights and taillights, and the wheels on this car are prototypical Ford GT wheels. Very, very cool car. And that pretty much covers Greenlight Ford castings. So you've got a lot of different castings to choose from. The licensing that Greenlight has is undisputedly the best in the hobby. When it comes to licensing, there's nothing that Round 2 or M2 or any other brand can do that even competes with what Greenlight does with their licensing. Not just the tooling licenses, but also the packaging licenses and the deco licenses. So that Bronco is not a Greenlight. I tried to park it out of the way. It is a Ford, though. If Greenlight were to do a second-gen Ford Bronco, I would expect it to look very similar to that. But anyways, it's a great brand to collect. Ton of selection. And this is just Ford. This doesn't count Chevy and Dodge and all the other brands that they do. But with Chevy, they don't have... The only late model vehicles that they have is the Silverado, the Camaro, the Volt, the Corvette, and the Cruze. So, I don't know. I might do a Chevy video as well as a Dodge video. They always have new stuff on the way, though. That's like for Dodge, they have that Dodge Durango coming out. They have a Nissan Titan coming out. One thing that I think is missing from Greenlight's Ford catalog is some kind of a van. They do a really nice Dodge van, and they do a couple of awesome Chevy vans. Or I should say General Motors vans. One of them is a Chevy, one of them is a GMC. But But it would be cool to see a Ford van. I think it'd be cool to see a Ford minivan. I would like to see an Aerostar or a Windstar. Something different. Anyways, there you go. Half hour. Greenlight, Ford. You can own pretty much any of these for under $10. Only exception to that is going to be that Fox body casting, that Ford Explorer casting. The rest of these you should be able to acquire for around $10 or less. And that price would include shipping to your house. So, thank you for checking it out. I will holler at the next video.